Hi there, dear Truth Warriors, and welcome back to the channel. A couple of weeks ago, I made a video on narcissistic mothers and their daughters, and I promised to make another video on narcissistic fathers and their sons. So even though the dynamics are the same between any narcissistic parent and their child, there are certain details that apply to you as the son of a narcissistic father. And I've jotted down a few pointers that I want to share with you. The first one being that the narcissistic father will project their ambitions onto you as the son. And they will be demanding of perfection, whether it's at an academic level, in sports, a career path you have chosen. They will demand this. Maybe not come out and say it fully, verbally, but there will be subtle threats towards you. There will be subtle manipulation that you have to show absolute perfection in whatever it is that you set out to do. And having said that, it will never be enough. You as the son will always have to go above and beyond in order to meet your father's expectations, which is ridiculous. You cannot meet anyone else's expectations. You can do your best, and your best is good enough. The second one is that narcissistic fathers equate vulnerability with weakness. So this is teaching their sons to suppress your emotions. Whatever emotions you feel, and you voice these emotions or you act out as a youngster, these will be slammed down because they do not tolerate vulnerability. And vulnerability is a very powerful quality to have. But this quality is always viewed, whether it is a narcissistic father or mother, it is always viewed as a weakness. And why is this? Because the narcissists themselves do not have the courage to show up vulnerable, because they themselves perceive themselves as weak, even though they will never acknowledge this. So any sign of vulnerability will be shut down. And what this causes is for you to have emotional disconnection, because you've never been taught, it is not part of your foundation, that having emotions is human, it's natural to go through various different emotions as you move through life. But when this has not been taught to you, then you will be disconnected from that part of yourself and shut down, suppress any emotions. Again, this is conditioning. This has nothing to do with your authentic self. So this will also cause difficulties in forming authentic relationships. As sons grow older, fathers may view them as a threat. And this shows up by signs of competition. When the father views you as a threat, they will be competing with you all of the time, whether it's through sports or a career path or an academic level, whatever it may be, they will always be competing with you. And again, you will feel inadequate, that you're not doing enough to meet the narcissistic father's expectations. Sons may spend a huge part of their lives striving for their father's approval. And again, this stems from childhood, where your foundation has been a rocky one. You will feel that you will always have to get your father's approval, meet his expectations, go, again, as I just said, above and beyond in order to receive some crumbs of love from your father. So what in effect you have been taught is that you need to be doing or giving in order to get some response from your father. And this is just unloving, and it is so not compassionate, because a father's love should be unconditional for their son. A father should loved to teach his son, this is what masculinity looks like. This is what a father looks like. This is how you treat the significant other in your life. This is how you interact with the children that you will be having. A father, a healthy, nurturing father, should demonstrate how a man is supposed to be, with all the great qualities involved in that. And when this has not been your experience, then you're going to be looking for his approval for the rest of your life, until you realize that seeking approval from your father as an adult is not part of the game. The essence of going through trauma is that you need to come to the recognition and the insight that the approval that you are longing for from your father is approval that you can give yourself. It is a whole healing process, a healing journey. When you approve of who you are, when you accept who you are, when you thrive to uncover that authentic part of yourself, that is when you are on a great path to healing. It does not require, and it never has required, you meeting your father's expectations. So narcissistic fathers often impose rigid definitions of masculinity onto their sons. So they may reward dominance. They may reward emotional suppression, as I just talked about, or relentless achievement, while belittling your great qualities of empathy or of creativity. So again, when a son has these great qualities, empathy, creativity, compassion, softness, kindness, this will be belittled by your narcissistic father, because in his mind, this has nothing to do with masculinity. What he's actually saying to you is masculinity means dominance, means suppression, means never showing your feelings, never showing your emotions, being very rigid. That is what masculinity equals in his mind. And again, this is what he projects onto you. So this conditioning, because that's what it is, this conditioning leaves sons grappling with an internal conflict. So you're struggling to meet, again, your father's expectations. You're struggling to embrace your authentic self because you have never been allowed to express your authentic self. However you express that as a child, because a child is an open book, they're just going to come out and show you who they are. And this is what a narcissistic father will not tolerate. He wants to keep you small. He wants to keep you in a corner, so to speak. He does not want you to thrive. He views you as a threat from the day you were born. What also often happens when a son is born, the first 2 or 3 years of his life, you may have a somewhat gentler father, narcissistic father, because a child can be molded. A child does not speak back between the ages, of course, of 0 and 2 or 3 years old. So he may be a doting father to you in those first couple of years of your life. But when you get to the stage where you start to talk back, where you start to have your own opinion, where you start to ask questions, this is what a 2 or 3-year-old usually does. Why? You tell them something and they will respond with but why is that? So the moment you start to show authenticity to your narcissistic father, then the tables turn. The coin is flipped. Where he used to may have demonstrated being a doting father, the moment you start showing up authentically is the moment that he is going to flip the coin and start manipulating you, intimidating you, demanding certain things from you that go above and beyond who you authentically are. So as I said in the last video about the narcissistic mothers and their daughters, the same healing tools apply to the narcissistic sons, or I'm sorry, to the sons of narcissistic fathers. The same applies, is learning to set boundaries, discovering your authentic self, being unapologetically you, taking leadership in your own life and saying, look, this is as far as it goes. You have mistreated me, you have manipulated me. I have become a shadow of whom I was in order to gain your approval, in order to get you to love me. When you reach that point in your life, you can then say, enough is enough. This is what I need to do for me. This is my life. These are the insights that I have about what I experienced as a young boy, as a teenager, as a young man. And some of you, some of the sons may be later on in life. You may be in your 40s, 50s, 60s. And it doesn't matter the age. As soon as you get the insight into what it is that you have experienced through your narcissistic father, that is the best time to then make a different choice, one that is going to empower you and start you on your healing journey. It's never too late. As long as you're here, living and breathing, it is never too late to start on your healing journey. Set those boundaries, because being a parent does not mean that that is a free pass to manipulate and intimidate your child. It does not equal that. You as an adult son can say enough is enough. I'm choosing me. I'm choosing my family. I'm choosing my career path. I'm choosing who I was meant to be here on earth. Thank you all for watching. If there's some pointers that I have missed that apply to you and that I haven't mentioned in this video, then please share your story down below this video. Get into the community, ask your questions. By sharing your story, you are releasing the burden that you have carried on your shoulders for the longest time, and also allowing others to share their stories with you. Till next time, take care of yourselves.